Your IGCSE English Language Paper 1 is just days away. You're in the right place. Here are my last minute tips for what to do within each section. You need to work quickly through this relatively straightforward section. Make sure that you're incredibly precise with your synonyms for 1B. Remember, if there's 2 or 3 marks, they're typically looking for 2 or 3 separate points. Make sure that your points are not too similar. This is the summary question. Looking at past papers, typically there are more than 10 suggested points listed. I'd recommend aiming to highlight 10 different ones within the passage. But remember, you're not summarizing the whole thing. You're just summarizing those points relevant to the question. Go for short sentences. Make sure that your phrasing is natural and clear. 10 relatively easy marks up for grabs here. However, be careful for those 4 little questions for 2A. Only find within the passage the underlined phrase. Make sure you're precise once again with 2B. Question 2C, choose your quotation carefully. You're choosing it from the little extract given, and I'd recommend writing about 3 sentences of analysis. I'd recommend setting it out by writing immediately the quotation within quotation marks, then putting a dash, and then exploring meaning and effect immediately. Obviously, you need to choose the more complex quotations with more interesting words. There'll be more to talk about. Hone in on imagery. The mark scheme specifies that. And just be really careful that you are analysing 3 quotations from 2 paragraphs and you've chosen the correct paragraph. Remember that this question is worth the most marks, 25 overall. Make sure that you leave enough time to do a really detailed, comprehensive response. 3 bullet points. The mark scheme specifies that you write a similar amount for each one. So if you haven't left enough time, even if you've done 2 amazing responses to the first 2 bullet points, you risk losing a lot of marks. Remember the principle of transform, don't translate. So what you don't want to do is highlight the relevant point from the text and then just change a few words within your response. No, you're extracting the idea and transforming that in a fresh, interesting, natural way. For each point that you take, I'd suggest adding a single sentence of development. For this is the one part of the paper that should be interesting to read. Depending on who you are writing as, make sure that it is engaging and that it nails the tone.